Okay, y'all. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do this. This is not going to be a standard player rankings in the typical manner, and you'll see why here in just a little bit. But you know what? I'm not going to dilly-dally. Let's just get this over with. Intro, please. And thank you, as always, to Pat Connolly Tavern, located at the corner of Oakland and Tam in beautiful Dogtown, for helping me get to St. Louis City experiences like this one. They are a City on Tap bar, so check in on the St. Louis City app to win prizes and just be a part of the club in your neighborhood. Also, you may notice that I am wearing the 1950 U.S. men's soccer tribute kit for this one, and this is the last week of sales for this kit. I am going to take this jersey off the market at the end of the week, so you can buy it now and get $5 off your order by using the code in your head. And remember, proceeds from this kit go towards Generation City, a supporters group in St. Louis that is supporting kids and their family and their hopes and dreams, like the lads from 1950 did against England. All right, so I have finally cooled down. It's been 24 hours, and I am a little more coherent than I was this time last night. I filmed a little drunken rant in the parking lot, and I admit that I had a fair bit of alcohol on this day because it is an away day, and you just want to have a little bit of fun. So, but what I experienced was not really the fun that I was looking for. It was catharsis for Sporting KC, but it certainly was not for us here in St. Louis. And it was the downer of this whole thing is that this is our one crack at Sporting KC on the road this year. We get one game at Children's Mercy, and so there was such a positive vibe going into the stadium. The march in was united and impressive, and we were making a lot of noise. I heard it came across very well on the MLS broadcast. No, I have not rewatched this game. No, I will not rewatch this game. But yeah, you can see here that it was such a fun vibe early on. But then the game happened, and we have to talk. We have to talk about where this club is right now, because the iceberg is dead ahead right now, and we may have already made contact with it. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an image, a screenshot rather, of what my player rankings would look like if I am doing them right now. And as you can see, yes, it was not all bad. As I said in my little rant last night, they were all trash. No, they weren't. There was positives from this match. And yes, you don't adjust your set. That is Josh Yarrow. I'm giving the man of the match to, because I thought he actually had a very solid game. The goals were not on his side. They were not his fault. He was cleaning up. He was actually really solid, I thought. And actually the analytics kind of backed that up. He was like the joint highest G+ in that game, along with Conrad Vollum, who would have been another candidate for man of the match. But look, when you hit the post on a clean break, I mean, I got to take some points away, even though he was our most promising attacker. Henry Kessler, he's still solid. I didn't have a real issue. He wasn't as Studley as he's been, but I didn't have an issue with his game. He was still solid. Celio and Hartle, I liked things that I saw from them, as well as Tomas Ostrak when he came on later on, but he just wasn't, none of them were fully clicking. Hartle had a sitter, one-on-one with the goalie that he completely fluffed. Bad category, I mean, I didn't see much from Seti when he came on. Alfredo Morales, I'll talk more about him in a little bit, and my continued confusion over his existence on this club. Simon Betcher, Joao Klaus, those were your strikers, and they were not striking. They just were not striking. And then the trash category, I've got things to say about all four of them. Nilsson, it's more bad just because he, his story with St. Louis continues to be incredibly, incredibly cursed. And I think it's about time that we write off Joachim Nilsson as a contributing member of this club. All right, but this really isn't going to be a typical player rankings episode just because the issue isn't really so much with the players themselves. I think it is with the first player that you saw in that or the first guy you saw in that trash category, and that being Olaf Melberg. This does not work, this five in the back system. It works in the sense that, yeah, you don't allow a lot of goals, although you just allowed a club that lost and had been winless in God knows how long to win 2-0. Inexcusable does not begin to describe what I feel, what a lot of St. Louis fans feel, a lot of fans felt after the match, and I am right there with them because it is clear that this style is not designed for long-term success, because eventually when you have insufficient parts to run this style, you have breakdowns like the 2 goals that KC scored. Well, the first one, it was Kyle Hebert getting completely undressed by Manu Garcia and Dejan Joveljic. And then the second one, he did not cloak himself in glory either. And, of course, you could argue that, on the side where they scored, that would have been Joachim Nilsson's territory. But guess what? He's broken again. And I don't think we can count on Joachim Nilsson anymore. And it's sad for Nilsson because he did not come to St. Louis with a rep for being injury prone, but it happens in this game. It happens to players. They just catch the injury bug. They get closer to their 30s, they get into their 30s, and your body just starts breaking down. I should know. I'm almost 40 years old, so I am in that category myself. So it's not really so much. I'm not bashing Nilsson so much. It's just, unfortunately, it's more of a criticism of his time here in St. Louis and just the fact that he's not been on the field, along with Rasmus Alm, which I'll talk about in a little bit because I have a bit of a rant when it comes to player resources and when we get to the Lutz portion of this little commentary track here. But yeah, this attack continues to just not work, and it seems to me, and I think Chat City Tactics had a really good Substack on this in the past week, about how Olaf seems just hell-bent on making this five in the back system work when the parts are just not there for it. And yes, part of that is due to injury. Totland's out. Jay Reed's out. You have injuries right now. Giannis Horn wasn't available against KC. So yeah, it does kind of suck. But didn't Olaf Melberg come to St. Louis with a reputation for being flexible, for changing up his formations, for changing up his ideologies? We have not seen that at all. He seems absolutely ready to go down with the fucking ship with this style of play that is like watching paint dry. The low block, and all the play being ramped up to wingbacks where we don't have the personnel to adequately do it because you're having to start Kyle Hebert and Akil Watts on the wings. That is not a recipe for success. You should not be funneling your attacks through the likes of Kyle Hebert and Akil Watts. Now, granted, the Nilsson injury did kind of change things a little bit. Hebert did slide back to a center back role, which he is more suited for, to be fair. But this is not working. And the system, as it stands right now, is designed to make your center mids completely invisible. And once again, Alfredo Morales, put him on a milk carton at this point because I have not seen anything from Alfredo Morales that suggests that there is greatness waiting to be had with him. I made the point on socials that, remember, 6 weeks ago, Alfredo Morales was jobless. 34 years old, injury prone. It looked like his career may have been sunsetting, and then we come a-calling. And every game this season, Alfredo Morales has been out there on the pitch. Olaf Melberg has trotted him out there every single game for key minutes, and now that Leuven's been gone, Morales has been the de facto Edouard Leuven replacement. This is a player management issue. This is a man management issue. This is a asset issue here. Why we are relying so much out of a player that was on the street 6 weeks ago. How did we not plan this? I know Durkin was an injury issue. I know JGR was getting his green card and he was out of it a little bit. But you saw these things coming. Durkin had that wonky knee from late last season. JGR, you know, a process of getting a green card is going to take a lot of time. And this is an opportunity, and I'm going to say it because those of you know how I feel about what happened here with Jose Kojima and how he left this team, and I've said it ad nauseum. I'm going to say it till I'm fucking dead in the ground. Protecting Rasmus Alm over Jose Kojima is absolute roster malpractice. And that is something that maybe this is one of the things. And I heard this from fans coming out of Children's Mercy last night. Is it time to start questioning Lutz? I know Jerry Hayes is all trust in Lutz. Yes, we had that 2023 season. That's 2 years ago. It's done. It's over with. And I think we start having to ask questions out of Lutz Pfannenstiel and his vision for this club and his talent acquisition process. Like, I remember this offseason in the winter window, like we were almost proud of the fact, Lutz was almost proud of the fact that we didn't have to go out and sign a lot of people. We signed Timo Baumgartner. Where the fuck is Timo Baumgartner been, by the way? Sorry about that. We'll get to Timo Baumgartner in just a little bit. We did bring in Konrad Vollum, who looks to be an inspired acquisition, but we lost Indiana Vasilev. I don't know exactly what transpired there, but yeah, he's gone now. We protected him in the expansion draft too, by the way, but we got $1 million in GAM for him, so that was worth it. And then we lost Jose Kojima in absolute roster malpractice. And Kojima would be getting a lot of playing time right now. I would think that Jose Kojima would be getting a lot of minutes that Akil Watts is getting right now. Like we had to play Marcel Hartl as a box-to-box midfielder because we literally don't have anyone else on our flippin' roster that can do it. Jose Kojima, in his endless motor, he could have been that guy. You could have had Hartl playing up top where he should be. You could have had Konrad Vollum occupying one of the wingback slots, or you could have Celio Pompeo occupying one of the wingback slots, and maybe things go better Saturday night than they did. And all season, maybe they go better than they did. Protecting Rasmus Alm, who is almost 30, who has a history of injuries, over a young player with upside who does not have injury troubles and is versatile and can play multiple positions and is cheap, is just asinine to me. And I hope that I hope this gets back to Lutz. I hope Lutz understands how absolutely malfeasance that was, letting Kojima exposed in the draft. And maybe they didn't expect Kojima to get taken. Maybe they didn't expect DC United to come in and swoop in like they did. But you know what? We did it with Jake LaCava, didn't we? It's possible. Why did we not account for this a possibility? That's a question for people in the front office, and that is a question that we may never ever get an answer to. Maybe just because of pride or whatever. But anyway, I think we have a big problem here with this club. Akil Watts continuing to not just get minutes, but being put in positions where he has to be the hero. We were feeding through balls to Akil Watts, or trying to at least, into the box. When you have Simon Betcher out there, you have Joao Klaus available, you have Marcel Hartl, you have all these offensive talents. You're down 1-0, and you're relying on Akil Watts to be the hero. That is tactical malfeasance right there. That is a complete misuse of assets. And then you had one play later on when we actually, I think it was Konrad Vollum, he actually gets into the box, he beats his man, he's clear, he actually sends a through ball, And it's a through ball to Akil Watts, who, guess what? Akil Watts is not a finisher. He's not a striker. And yet he is being put on the receiving end of a glorious through ball that gets through everyone, and he fluffs it. It goes off his knee because guess what? You are asking Akil Watts to be a hero, and he is not a goddamn hero. He is a USL championship level player. And this is the tactics that you draw up to put players like Akil Watts in critical positions to try to get points on the road against a hated rival. This is why we're angry. This is why we're frustrated. Because we went to not just our hated rival, but a club that had not won in like 12 or 13 matches, and we gave them a dub. A 2-0 dub. And at no point after KC scored, after Joveljic torched Hebert, at no point did I think that we were even capable of drawing. And we are only a month into the Olaf Melberg regime. Jake Henry, I walked out with him after the game, and he made the comment that he can't think of a single coach in the history of St. Louis sports that is losing the fan base quite like Olaf Melberg is right now. I warned in last week's player rankings that this style of play from Olaf and the lack of results coming from it has a real danger of nerfing and alienating this fan base. And I'm starting to hear it already. And when you come out with that effort that we had in Sporting KC, you're just driving that wedge further. You're driving that stake further in there. And to Lutz's credit, he is aware that this loss hurt us. And he apologized on KMOX radio, and I thought that was good. But then he also said during that interview that we're going to be playing at home against two of the best clubs in the league, including Columbus this coming Sunday. And he almost came out and said that, the form that we've been in, he's not too confident about our chances against these upcoming opponents at home. That is where we are right now. It is April 6th. When I am recording this, and we are already talking about a crisis point. Because at least under Bradley Carnell and John Hackworth, when we were having those wild 3-3 road matches, at least you felt that St. Louis had a puncher's chance. They were thrilling in their own kind of stressful way, but at least you felt like we had a dog in the fight. This is absolutely lifeless, and I'm not going to just blame this on injuries. I'm going to start blaming. I have to start thinking about how this roster has been constructed, and the continued absence of certain players. Timo Baumgartel, I flipped out over him just a little bit ago because why is Timo Baumgartel on this club if you're not going to play him? Or correction, why is Timo Baumgartel on this club if you're not going to play him at his proper position? Is Timo Baumgartel just a signing to make his German friends happy because they all, came up in the German youth system? Was this let's do a Duke, let's make Marcel Hartl happy, let's make Jonas Horn happy, let's make Edu Leuven happy by signing their friend to rot on the bench and get splinters on his ass because he's not playing the game? What's the issue? I get that, he may have been sick during preseason and, maybe he was still kind of coming up to fitness here, but he played the full 90 for City 2 just a little over a week ago, and he looked good. I mean, it was next pro, but he actually looked dominant out there. What are we missing with Timo Baumgartel and his continued lack of use? What are we missing in the continued dependence on Kyle Hebert and Akil Watts? What are we seeing? Joey Zielinski. We should talk about Joey Zielinski because I don't even have a face card made for Zielinski on my player rankings because I haven't had to make one because he hasn't gotten into a single flipping game. We gave him a big boy contract, a first team contract. He is a right back. He is a right wing back. We are having critical right back and right wing back issues. And you're just letting Zelensky rot on the bench without giving him a chance. How many more chances does Akil Watts need to prove to you, Olaf, that he is not a right wing back? How many more? And when will you give Joey Zelensky, a guy you made a point to give a first-team contract to, a chance? He can't be any worse than Akil Watts. Akil Watts had one of the worst games probably of his career in Sporting KC. It is clear. Akil Watts, probably a nice guy. I was actually rooting for him to get more playing time because there were things I was seeing in his limited opportunities that were encouraging. But you know what? Time makes fools of us all. And we have seen that Akil Watts is not the guy. Kyle Hebert, I guess the magic fairy dust that made him very competent, in his first few weeks has expired because Kyle Hebert, once again, positioning nightmare from him. He had a horrible game against Sporting KC. You could argue that, he may have been partially responsible for those 2 goals. Again, I didn't rewatch the match, but he did not look great at all. And now we're not going to be with Joachim Nilsson. So when do you give Timo Baumgartl a shot? What does Timo have to do? Is he sleeping with Olaf's wife? Is that the issue here? Because I don't know what else the issue could be. Alfredo Morales, again, I haven't seen anything out of him. And it could be just because, again, the design is meant to just make your center mids completely vanish. Like I said, Ostrak, I thought he looked, good in spurts. But again, it's just I didn't see enough out of him because he was playing a center mid role, and that's what we do. Hartl was active, playing a box-to-box midfielder role, like the old Edouard Leuven role, but he's not a box-to-box midfielder. He needs to be playing up. He didn't excel at St. Pauli, playing deep. He was playing up on the wing. He was playing up as a center attacking mid. That's his position, man. This whole season just feels like we are using ABC gum and prayer to make a lineup, and Olaf refuses to deviate from that. Maybe next weekend we stray off of this whack system that we are in right now that does not have adequate personnel for it. Maybe we go back to a 4-2-3-1. City 2's been playing a 4-2-3-1 all season long. Maybe we go back to basics. At least give the fans some goals. Even if give us an exciting 3-3 match. Give us some life again. Because Saturday just was not it. And we have to ask questions of Olaf at this point. I'm sorry, but we do. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with the style. I'm not impressed with his use of players. He only had 3 subs against KC on Saturday. Down 2-0, 3 subs. Could have made 5. Just made 3, and one of them was because of injury. Absolutely heinous. And yeah, I think we need to start asking questions of Luis van der Stiel as well at this point, because he is the architect. The players do not fit right now. And these are the players that he has gone out and gotten himself. And keep in mind, he also approved the hiring of Olaf Melberg. He signed off on it. A manager whose track record in Sweden was not especially impressive at all. And I feel that, people in our community, myself included, kind of had to do gymnastics to make the signing make sense, because he was not all that impressive at Brahma-Poikarna. In fact, one of his big attributes at Brahma-Poikarna was that he was kind of the steward of their academy, which is the biggest academy in Europe, just in terms of sheer number. And we have not seen that here because he won't put Caden Glover on the bench. Caden Glover has a first-team contract. You don't need a short-term loan for Caden Glover. What do you got against Caden Glover? What do you got against... we finally put Emil Askelainen on the bench for this one, but remember, against Austin, we the weekend before, rather, we had an open roster spot. We had an absolute open roster spot. We have not seen any sort of faith from Melberg in City 2 players. None. We did have Miggy Perez on the bench, but I feel that was in a case of emergency break glass kind of a situation. And again, he won't play Joey Zelensky for reasons. He seems to have soured on Brandon McScorley, after his breakout year last year. What's the vision? What's the plan here? And I think it's fair of us to ask questions of not just Olaf, but Lutz in that regard. Maybe we see John Hackworth back in the gaffer spot before the season is out. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that this can continue. Like this style of play, the lack of scoring. I mean, we have one goal in open play. One goal. One goal, and we are already over a month into the season. We are a month and a half into the season, actually. This is completely unacceptable, and it's a boring style that is going to drive away fans. And Carolyn Kindle, if this gets back to you, take note of this, because it is not just the losses, it is the boring style of play that is really, really testing this fan base right now, and it might test your bottom line as the season goes on, because I know already that you've had box office tickets available, an hour before matches, the home matches already. I know you like to brag that it's a sellout, every game, but like I see those tickets on SeatGeek. Check SeatGeek about an hour to 2 hours before each match, and tell me there's not a lot of box office seats still available. There's a reason for that, because we're losing patience already, and changes need to be made. And I hope that they hear my message. I hope they hear Matt Baker. I hope they hear Justin Horniger when Chat City Tactics makes his breakdown that I know he's working on probably as we speak. I hope our concerns are heard, and I hope that change is made. And I am still going to retain some faith that change will happen, because this is unacceptable. And if it takes a derby match, losing in embarrassing fashion, a derby match, to get the ball moving, to get change going, to change out of this absolutely whack formation and style that we're in right now, then maybe for the long term, it's for the best. But in the meantime, I'm just going to sit here with my giveaway bunny ears from Sporting KC. I still don't know why they were giving away bunny ears when St. Louis fans were coming in. And we're going to own this. We're going to absolutely own these rabbit ears. I might wear these at games for the rest of the year, just because Energizer Park, it's kind of our thing. If they thought they were trolling us, they did a bad job, because we all were wearing our bunny ears in the supporters end, in the away supporters end. So I'm going to keep these, even though it was a bad day. Thank you, Sporting KC, because these are actually kind of nice. So, dap to Sporting KC. And look, it's nothing against. None of my rant is towards Sporting KC or its fans. I mean, their fans got some catharsis. They got to beat their rival. They beat us fair and square. There's no questioning that Sporting KC beat us fair and square. There should not be anyway. This is nothing against you, Sporting KC fans. If you're watching this right now, I'm sure what you're hearing towards management is very familiar territory for you, given what you've just gone through with Peter Vermees. It's just, we're now speed running the Peter Vermees experience with Olaf Milberg right now, and that's scary. Anyway, what do you think about the current situation with St. Louis City SC? Are you more optimistic than I am about where we're going, or did the barbecue disaster really kind of take the wind out of your sail like it did with me? Leave a comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more. Hopefully, if we don't, shit the bed next week, have a proper player rankings next week for you. Also, thank you to my Zombie Ultras. Once again, you guys are the backbone of my channel. Watch for my 2,000 subscriber video coming out later this week. I've been waiting for some nicer weather to go out and film it, and I'm planning on doing that this week. So watch for that probably around Thursday or Friday of this week. This is your soccer zombie, Tom Franklin here, and if we need a palate cleanser after what happened this past Saturday, let's remember good times. Let's remember the times that we did beat our rivals as recently as last September. One of the losses that was in Sporting KC's infamous streak. You can watch it right up here. It's a barbecue delight, not a barbecue disaster. Maybe we can have a repeat of that later this year, but changes got to be made first.